Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the One Nation of Gamers Summer Circuit NA qualifier number 8. Now, I'm TJ, joined by Chalky underscore HS, his full name, and
Big sock Chuck.
Big Sock Chalk,
Yep, that's me.
Keaton Chalky Gill, or as some like to refer to him, Keaton Chalky Jill.
Keaton Chucky Grill.
Yep.
Some people
Mm.
mistake. Yeah. Well, TJ, one thing I just want to start off. I'm really glad there aren't two druids in this series.
I am also. There are two warriors, but we've come
Hey,
to expect that.
we've come to accept that, okay? Warrior is always going to be the number one class. Blizzard has made that known, so.
Mhm. And it looks like this time around we might be seeing slightly more smorking. Yeah. Jockey
That's
and I.
that's the NA I know and love. Let's go. Smork 'em good.
Let's go. The four players, as you saw from the bracket that will be participating, are Th3rat and Taeng. That will be our first matchup. And the second matchup will be Leo Main, who we've actually seen before. Brazilian player who's competed in Open before. And Weasel, who is a French player. Of course, we do not region lock the qualifiers. The only requirement is that you have to have cards on the server, of course.
Yep.
So EU players could compete in NA, and NA players could compete in the EU. Just the GEICO point pools were separate. So Weasel, the French player, he'll be, like I said, going up against Leo Main in that second matchup. But let's talk about this first one. Th3rat from Team Illuminati versus Taeng from
Yeah,
Team
and
UNBI.
unlike last kind of set of games, we do have quite a few players in the NA who have Geico points.
Mm-hmm.
So they could qualify not by only winning, but doing well today. So for some of these players, they just need to have a solid performance. Tang, it looks like, has 4 points. So unfortunately for him, that is a pretty big difference, 4 and 5. He needs to get second place or higher, and that would qualify him. For
Yeah.
who else did we have? I was just on them. It was Leo Main. He has 5 points on the NA, I believe. Yep, he has 5 points. So third place would tie him with the current front runner, who I believe is Dart, which is Th3rat's teammate. Dart has 12 points. He is the current leader to qualify for the Premier Tournament on the NA points ladder. So Tang could tie that with a third place or better finish. Obviously, second or better would qualify him as well.
If only I could sell my 3 points, I could be a very rich man.
He could be. I see TJ Azumo here with 3 points.
Funny story, I actually forgot my login information. And all the other ones were taken, so I had to make my name TJ Azumo.
So Th3rat has 2 points, which unfortunately, because Dart has 12, even if he got the maximum 9 points from second place, he would only go to 11 and fall a little short. So he needs to win the entire event. Th3rat does if he wants to qualify. And conveniently enough for him, that would put his teammate Dart in a pretty solid spot to qualify. And the fourth player, let me see here, was Weasel. I'll check up on his points real quick. So, is it Weasel 2259?
I think so, yeah.
Even if it is, Weasel only has 2 points as well. Same boat as Th3rat, needs to take home the entire event to qualify. So, a lot on the line for all of these guys. All of them have a very, very real chance of qualifying for that Premier Tournament starting tomorrow. Again, this is basically the end of the summer circuit we're looking at today.
Yep. So, this is the last event. And going to move into the first matchup. It is going to be Paladin. It looks like a mid-range Paladin.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The feature tournament is the last event. This is the last qualifier
Yeah.
event.
So we will have one more 3-day event. Lots of action in that. That'll determine one more person to go to the PAX finals. Actually, I believe after that's all said and done, we'll know all 8 people going.
Yeah, and the PAX tournament, I believe, will be taking place on the the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. I believe
Yep.
it's Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of PAX, if I
Yep.
remember correctly.
So to give you guys,
Not Monday.
while we
So
kind of
Friday,
have
Saturday, Sunday, or just Saturday, Sunday.
while we kind of have a little break here to give you guys an idea of the players in the front running for those spots at PAX, we have on the European region, Hoj or Hoedge has 31 points. He's in a very commanding lead, followed by Tom 60229 with 23, Mirari with 20, and Serapis Prime, kind of a more unknown player with 20. Other than that, it kind of starts to be a drop off. Of course, anyone involved in the Premier Tournament still has a chance to overtake them, but those are the current front runners. Only 2 of them will make it, and on the North American server, we have a tie for first place. It's a lot closer on NA. We have Wafster and Nostum sitting at 32 points, VX14 at 30, Hot Form at 29, and Trump following up with 21, but I believe Trump is done earning points, so Trump can't get there. So basically a race between 4 people who are all very, very close.
Yeah. Sort of just all went over my head. But we'll know.
Yeah, basically the people we're looking at now, they could be in that race if they can win today. So they kind of have to start off with that. We're looking at Th3rat playing, like you said, a mid-range Paladin deck. A little surprising to see that out of them. And Taeng, a Korean player from Team Unbe, is playing pretty standard Druid deck and might be about to Joan Th3rat. What do you think, TJ?
Oh, yes.
Think he's Joning him?
I think he's going to Joan him.
I'd Joan him.
Yeah.
I'd
He
Joan him
doesn't
so hard.
really know if it's
Aggro
mid-range or aggro yet, and against aggro, I think you might be better off saving it for, like, knocking off 4 damage. But I guess the Light's Justice
Joan him.
represents... Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta Joan him there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he picks up a swipe. That's actually a really big
That's
deal.
really important, yeah. So we'll have to see if Th3rat chooses to trade off a bunch of 1/1s here. That would be pretty solid play from his end. I think he's going to see where a knife hits. And he could go for a greedy trade, hope there's no swipe there. Or he could go for... Yeah, so now he has to go for the that trade. And this will leave up 1/1/1 to be vulnerable to a swipe.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Yeah, you can't. Well, he can still win this game. I have heard... I mean, it is pretty Paladin favored. It takes a lot for the Druid to win. So far, Taeng has had the Wild Growth. He had the on-curve Harrison. He's going to have a swipe here. So I'd say he's definitely in control of this match. But Paladin has a lot of stabilization tools, a lot of tools to catch up with, like Equality Consecration.
Yeah. And also another tool, the Outdoor Peacekeeper there. Druid's class that relies so much on board control, Outdoor Peacekeeper gives up a lot of the potential for you to control the board. So Paladins can apply just lots of pressure in the mid-game, and if they can manage to just keep a hold of the board, sometimes it just feels like as the Druid player, you're just never able to catch up.
Yep, can definitely happen like that. We do see Th3rat is ahead on board, but not on cards. And it looks like it will be that swipe coming out.
Yeah, decides to save the Wrath here. Realizes that he has enough cards, doesn't need to cycle it, can take a little bit of extra damage in order to save that Wrath for later on. And Rat picks the Lotheb and instantly throws it down, so
yep,
that's a pretty good draw.
This is a really good draw because if we see like an Ancient Allure out here from Taeng, that'll get Aldor picked off easily by the Lotheb, and the Rat will continue to be ahead on board going into a Dr. Boom turn, which as of now, there's no big game hunter for in Taeng's hand.
Yep.
So maybe a little more aggressive play from Taeng rather than going for more cards because he's already ahead on cards, would be this Sylvanas Windrunner. That's what he's going to go for. It doesn't let your opponent tempo you out as much. Now, it's like, okay, do you want to trade in both? Do you Aldor it and try to ignore it? That's risky. So Especially risky when it looks like Taeng has Th3rat in his hand.
Wow. So if he Aldors and ignores it, next turn, Tang
Punished.
can throw in Sylvanas, steal something, play Kel'Thuzad, resummon a full attack Sylvanas,
Mm-hmm.
and
And I
effectively
mean,
just win the game.
yeah, you have to believe that would just win on the spot.
Yeah.
I suppose an equality consecration would keep the rat in it for a while, but Taeng would be so far ahead
Mm-hmm.
on cards on board. Maybe this is just a face attack play. Wow, and it is. So the rat gonna get in a lot of damage, but I feel like if Taeng is is willing enough to go for this risk here with the Kel'Thuzad, he'll put himself in a really good spot to win the game.
Is it really a risk?
Well, you are a little afraid, and
Of
really,
what?
he still doesn't know if it's aggro or not. I mean, he saw Lotheb, which is kind of indicative, but the way the rat has played, he's acting like he's aggro. He just equipped a True Silver and hit your face to 11. Are you really willing to leave him with at least 5 on board and say, okay, if you have 6, you have me? Because think about how easy that is for aggro paladin to produce. Blessing of Kings plus anything, Arcane Golem plus anything, Abusive Sergeant. It is kind of a hard tell to not. He hasn't played any aggro paladin specific cards. He just hasn't played any control paladin specific cards either. And I feel like that's kind of what's scaring Taeng here. He doesn't want to leave anything on the board just in case of something like Blessing of Kings.
Yeah. Very true. And you're right. He realizes that he needs to sort of, well, no, not really. This is the
Yeah.
exact same. I guess he clears the board, so he plays around the possibility of Blessing of Kings.
Yep.
Um,
And I think he's going to get the good news pretty soon that no, you are not playing against aggro paladin.
yeah.
You are playing against mid range, and you are very far ahead.
Hmm.
Because it's kind of paladin's pretty much known as a deck that doesn't produce much late game burst. And right now, Taeng is like, please don't Arcane Golem me and win the game.
You need Arcane Golem plus something else like Blessing of Might. And I don't see why. I mean, I guess it's the debate between whether or not he should Aldor and Consecration and maybe clear, or just throw it on the Dr. Boom and maybe next turn you can just push through with double Consecrate plus True Silver. The 2.5 card, 8 damage burst.
Yep. I think I'd like to see him go face this turn as well, just to play around taunts. Kind of identifying that maybe your highest chance of winning is just those boombots hitting well, and you double consecrating and pushing face. And there is no big game hunter from Taeng. So, definitely a chance.
Yeah. Boombots can do some crazy, crazy things, Chalky.
They can. They could just end the game right now. They could kill Taeng by themselves. Wouldn't that be something? Well, Taeng is in an awkward spot. He can heal and taunt if he goes for like Senjin, Ancient Allure. That is basically the only combination of cards that does healing and taunting. So that'd be the safest play possible if you wanted to go for that. It's going to kill off a Boombot.
Dangerous.
This could just end the game. Sort of.
Oh, one face for
Oh.
4.
Uh-oh. Will he heal? He didn't heal.
He's dead.
And so that's kind of what I was talking about. That's how you do it. I would check with that Boombot real quick. I would try to tilt my opponent. Imagine if that went face for 4.
You don't.
Oh!
Oh!
Oh, okay, that works too. That works
And
too.
the rat, like, pumped his fist, too. Like, he knew he had it. So that plays into Taeng's mind, like, wow, He pumped his fist. He knew that Boombot would go face.
I think because of that, Taeng's kind of just like, okay, yeah, double consecration.
Yeah.
But hey, got him.
Got him, indeed.
Pretty surprising win from the Rat. I feel like, given the context of how that game went and how badly his plays lined up with everything Taeng had, he went for very aggressive lines, very small percentage plays, and in reality, it was his best chance to win, and it panned out very well for him. So, really, a game I was like impressed to watch. You're just kind of like, that's probably the only way you win with the way the cards went.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And now the Rat has Rogue and most likely Patron Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I would maybe... So, the Rat was one of the first players to sort of innovate with Patron Warrior. He was one of the first players to really sort of master the deck. Take it to rank 1 legend multiple times.
Yeah, he took it really from a place where when the deck was first conceptualized, it was a very play patrons, hope you win the game. If you don't, maybe you kill him sometimes, to a point where he added a lot more cycle, he added the unstable ghouls, and it became much more of a... You can play patrons against certain decks, but it also has this menacing double frothing Berserker OTK combo, which as casters, you really get to kind of see just how powerful it is. Like, we're sitting here, some games are like, that wouldn't be enough, and then we count it up, and we're like,
oh
yeah, that's 32. with like 4 cards. Just 2 whirlwinds, 2 frothings.
Oh, he's got
so
2 taunts on the board. One of them's a 5/10, one of them's a 4/6, and he can do 32 damage from an empty board with 5 cards.
Who cares? Easy game.
Who cares? Yep. The Rat also playing Rogue.
Definitely one of the decks he prefers.
One of the decks I prefer also to watch, to play.
Rogue players, their habits die hard.
And he's on the coin.
Oh my god, he got the coin.
So, can't really ask for too much more here.
Yep. I mean, SI Agent's kind of decent. If you keep SI Agent, it's a little hard to keep that Edwin as well. Because you don't have the coin for both of them. You can only pick one. He does choose to keep both, though. So if he draws a Backstab or a Prep, maybe, he'll be rewarded for that. Doesn't grab either of those so far, though.
He has his choice of 3-drops, though.
Yeah. Just got the all the picks. Don't think he can afford to coin out the dagger, though.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Definitely not. Yeah. Hunter's Mark picked up. That's actually a pretty good tool against Rogue.
It'll work out pretty decently. If there were to be a huge Edwin or something, that would be one of the easy answers. I think we'll just see maybe like SI on the 2/2, though. Sets up a threaten to proc the Freezing Trap. Obviously, you don't want to walk into Eagle Horn Bow, but definitely a risk you have to take.
Yeah. We can see Taeng does not have Eagle Horn Bow. Double Whip Spinner's actually not too bad, because getting those out early on, I can actually quick shot it.
Yeah, if this is a Freezing Trap,
more room to play the beasts.
Yeah, if this is a Freezing Trap, I'd expect to see the quick shot come down. He could just throw out Hunter's Mark, though. Save the quick shot. It's an explosive trap, though, which means... Okay, he can act like it's a freezing trap for quite a while. Like, the Rat's gonna play... He's gonna play Farseer and think he's gonna freeze it back, but really it's just explosive. I'm not sure how much that's gonna help Taeng, but it's very easy to telegraph that it's a freezing when it isn't. And it starts with a play like this.
Yeah.
Even though it's okay to leave out a 3/3, you want to act like it's not.
Oh, looks like just Earthen Ring Farseer turn. It's a little bit dangerous to leave up on the board too, because 5 health or 3 health can definitely matter in the long run. Let's see if Taeng picks up something he can play. Kill Command doesn't do too much here. He can kill command the Earth Ring Farseer, but that's a lot of wasted damage. He doesn't have enough cards in his hand. I don't know if you want a Hunter's Mark, a 3-3.
Well, there's not too many bigger targets in the rogue deck.
It's true. And it will give you the option to have the mana to play what beast you get from the web spinner.
Yep. That might be a better play, I think. If you get a 4 mana or lower beast, you get to curve out a bit better. You save the kill command for next turn, curve out in that high main. And high main is a card you kind of look at it, you're like, oh, rogue counters that sap, but it's a card where if you don't have sap, it can carry the game on its own for the hunter.
King of Beasts.
Yep. Not going to do anything. And now what?
Just throw the other one in.
Oh, so he set it up into explosive range. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. There's the sap. So he has a win deal with high main. And I don't know if the rat was really expecting that.
Yeah, I think he might have thought it was like Snake. Probably expected it was just freezing, but...
King of Beasts is going to come out here. King of Beasts actually sets up pretty nicely in this Savannah High main. It's got a lot of health, so it's tough to remove.
Do you sap it?
If you sap it, then turn 6 High main just wrecks you. And
Yep.
Taeng also has Dr. Boom, which is the rogue's worst enemy. Rogues just cannot deal with Dr. Boom cleanly unless they already have board initiative. And if a Savannah High main's played on turn 6, usually they don't have board initiative going into the turn where Dr. Boom is played. So
I would have liked to see Taeng at least not play the King of Beast if he was considering the Hunter's Mark. Just kind of hold it back, because after you play out all your mana and then you sit there thinking, kind of telegraphs you have that Hunter's Mark.
yeah.
Of course, you could be bluffing it, but when you do have it, there's really no reason to remind your opponent, oh yeah, the possibility is there. You'd rather kind of catch them off guard with it. It's not a very common card in Hunter.
Yeah. He might just be thinking about, he's really scared if he saps that a high main will come out. And it looks like he's just going to go for sap, probably play Edwin.
Sap Edwin and face, I guess. And now the Hunter's Mark can come down on an Edwin. It's about the best you're going to get.
Is he going to trade, though? He
Ooh,
does.
he does.
That's where that waiting long time for that Hunter's Mark plays in.
Yep. And a second King of Beasts.
I mean, that could be super powerful. That's like, if you have 2 beasts on the board, that's Druid of the Claw.
Whoa.
Whoa! And this, I think you just probably have to play Powdered Shredder, Dagger up, and ignore it for now.
Yep. You are pushing a lot more damage, so it is a position where, even though it's a high main, it's not in real good position to race you.
Yeah, you do have Tinker, Sharp Sword Arrow, plus Blade Flurry next turn to deal with a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like for Taeng, it might have to be face Dr. Boom, your go, and then look to kill him next turn.
Yeah. Nope. He really wants to protect that Savannah High main. I'm not sure how much I like this, though. He's really playing super defensively, and I think one of the ways that you lose against Rogue is just by giving them too much time. You can Hunter's Mark this down, play his own Paladin Shredder as well. Oh.
Oh, man. Trade.
Oh, the prep!
Yeah.
Th3rat's like, well, that's a card.
Jeez. Indeed it is. He can prep out the Tinkers and get off the Flurry. He can go for 2 1/1s, or he can guarantee that the damage hits onto the Shredder. Looks like he's going for those 1/1s.
This is sort of perfect timing as well, though, because he just saw Unleash, so the likelihood that he has second Unleash is pretty low. So he can
Yeah.
just go ahead and make all these little 1/1s. Does hit an inactive one, but I mean was 50-50. So
Oh, it looks like
that,
he planned to trade anyway, so he's just gonna go for the full clear.
and gets a succubus.
Succubus definitely really powerful, pushes a lot more damage than most of them, and he's at a very healthy life total, and he's got a sprint, so he's going to be able to basically just kind of refill his hand.
Rogues are so good.
Wow, it's like he drew that card preparation. TJ, this is like when in WoW, you would duel as a rogue, but you'd wait until all your cooldowns were up. And then you're like, alright, I'm ready now.
I don't think it's like that at all.
Well, do you go for the sprint? I think it's pretty solid here. It's a pretty nice sprint. Into backstab.
The likelihood that he picks up a backstab is actually quite high. Well, not high, but he hasn't drawn any yet. Oh no!
Never
Disaster.
lucky. Now he has to trade.
And does it go for the value trade?
I'd go for the
value trade.
Well, you saw an explosive. You've seen an unleash. You know he doesn't have the other unleash, or else he would have played it last turn. Unleash King of Beasts. That's a powerful combo, TJ.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But okay, he's gonna go for the safe trade. I would have gone for the value.
Yeah. Either way, he pushes 4 damage to face.
Not punished. Not punished.
But Dr. Boom is really tough.
Yeah, it's not over. You can sap the boom. Obviously not where you want to be, really, but...
Well, he can, like, sap the boom this turn, Azure Drake, dagger up. Next turn he has Deadly Poison Blade Flurry. He could even sprint and Deadly Poison Blade Flurry.
You know those boom bots are going to kill your Azure Drake, man.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. He could also Antique Healbot this turn, not attack in, sap and dagger up. That way he sort of forces the Taeng to deal with the Antique Healbot, because if not, then it'll get freezing trapped and represent another 8 points of heal. I mean, it's no healing wave, but...
Yeah, he's at really high health, the rat is, so... Basically has plenty of time to kind of play around, decide whatever he wants to do, and not under much pressure.
Well, this is actually a sick draw. He can bow and play Dr. Boom again, clear off the Antique Healbot. This might be the turnaround that Taeng needs.
Could be. He is going really low, though.
He is, but he can put the rat on like a couple turn clock here with this Dr. Boom and the bow. That's 4 boom bots.
I mean,
that
the rat is
16 damage to the face.
Yeah, but the rat's an eviscerate or an oil away from winning. If he puts his face. Yeah.
How?
He has 14 damage if he can draw into a spell that does 4 damage.
No, he doesn't.
He does!
Well, there's a freezing trap.
He didn't bow into the... I was saying if he bowed into the Antique Healbot, he would.
Okay. He could take 7 and clear the board, but it could potentially be a lot more than 7.
Yeah. And you really do want that damaged hit face. You're guaranteed to take 7 just from the hit. I think you want to try to set up 2-turn lethal. You could just sprint, or you can like Azure Drake Lotheb. Deny spells. Oh, that second King of Beasts is going to be huge, though. Oh, wow. Best draw in the deck.
Yeah.
Eviscerate would have gotten him there, too, but... Backstab just even more efficient. Lets him dagger up. Lets him have another damage spell in his deck for next turn.
His Azure Drake's all but dead.
Yeah. I told you, man. Every time. That Boombot, it was the first one and it hit for 4. Those things are heat-seeking. They're vicious.
King of Beasts Houndmaster is pretty threatening.
Yeah. Bowing and Hero Power would have put more pressure, but I don't think it increases the clock from 2 to 1.
I heard Prep is a good card.
Th3rat, he's on he's drawing some good cards lately.
Backstab.
Backstab's gonna be fine.
Deadly.
Doesn't really do too much, but
Versus direct damage.
well, he is basically okay, he's used both saps, right? Yeah. So that King of Beasts is gonna be pretty tough to get through.
He's on a 2-turn clock now.
Who?
Th3rat.
No, he isn't.
Well, I mean...
well, I mean, yeah, after he backstabs that, he's not.
Yeah.
You're right, Chalky. yeah, Taeng needs to pick up like a Savannah High Main or something, just to, like you said, 2-turn clock him. That's what he needs.
Or Kill Command.
Would that 2-turn clock him? I suppose it would if the King of Beasts survives, which it won't. Haunted Creeper.
Not what he wanted to see.
What you want. Oh, he's going for the defensive plan. He's hoping this King of Beasts sticks. He's like, maybe he'll just never draw Eviscerate ever. Ever.
Th3rat only has like 6 cards left.
Yeah, he is so low on cards. Haven't seen a single Eviscerate. I think he's okay, though. Like, he's just going to be like, okay, I mean, I'm not under pressure still. He's only representing 10. Okay, Kill Command would kill him, so he needs to be a little wary of that.
I think you fan first might be the right choice here.
He just needs to make sure he doesn't die to Kill Command. Lothab doesn't help, so I agree, you probably fan first.
Well, if he fans and has to tank the damage from this King of Beasts...
he will die to Kill Command.
He will die to Kill Command.
You could clear off... okay, you could Deadly Poison, SI Agent, the 1-2, Fan of Knives, clear off everything. And you wouldn't be dead to Kill Command because there's no Beast.
Yeah.
And you would avoid taking the 1 from Haunted Creeper. And you'd set 3 on the board, and you'd have 3 from your dagger. So...
he doesn't have mana.
I think I would have liked that, because this way, isn't he just dead to Kill Command?
He is.
Punished!
He punished!
Punished!
Off the top.
No!
Oh, no.
Oh, and he had such a nice play line around it. Well... somewhere.
Hunters still do hunter things.
It was like... yeah, I mean, the game... he did rope there at the end. The game's essentially mathematically solvable once your opponent's had no cards. You essentially know their entire range. Kill Command's not like a strange tech card or anything, you know. You're kind of sitting there thinking, okay, what am I dead to? Kill Command.
Yep, that's it.
And
with no unleashes left, yeah, he could have daggered up, Deadly Poison, SI the Haunted Creeper, Fan of Knives, kill the King of Beasts.
cleared everything.
Cleared everything. You're sitting at 11, but you don't develop as much stuff on the board. But at that stage, I mean,
there would
you just
only
gotta
be...
go for it.
yeah, you'd be at 11, your opponent would be showing 5, so they'd need to top deck 6, which would be quick shot into Kill Command. Much less likely. So, but he's going to queue out Druid again. It's a little bit better of a matchup, I would say, into this very heavy ramp Druid. Now, you can kind of run into the same issues here as you can with Hunter, where you look at Ancient War and you think, okay, Sap lines into that amazingly, but it only matters if you're pressuring them. Because if not, they replay it. You use the second Sap like Th3rat did last game, suddenly they replay it again. 2 King of Beast, a Savannah High Main, it was enough to get there for Taeng, just barely. So really got to be wary of that. You have to try to get as much pressure on the board early as possible and then use those saps to not only deny your opponent's play, but to push through that damage to win the game.
The Rat might be in some trouble if he doesn't pick up a 4-drop, though.
Yep, he has prep, and the other two, the Shredder and Teacher, are fine as well.
If he just whiffs on turn 4 and only ends up just redaggering, it's not where you want to be.
Yeah, definitely not. Again, preparation basically acts as a 4-drop here with the sprint in his hand, so
Yep.
is, I believe, like 6 outs or so. He could just pick up a 3-drop. That wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah, that's true. Depends what 3-drop it is, but...
So it's about a 50-50 here. Draw a blank or not.
I don't like those odds.
You don't like him? I mean, I don't like him either. Yep. So, just going to be a redagger, and Taeng doesn't have too much to play out either, though, unless he draws something. Well, he can go for a 3-3. He can dome the Rat for 2 with that Keeper of the Grove. To the dome piece.
He can coin out Sludge Belcher.
Yeah, he could.
That's the one that I like the least.
Will he? No. But he could.
Can he? Yes.
Look at him. Look at that picture. That's what he's like right now.
That's a really good picture because that's probably what he is like the whole time.
Yeah, he's just like, so many options.
Yep. Taeng, he says in his little bio here, his favorite class? All of them.
What a nice guy. He just loves Hearthstone.
Yep.
He's doing it! So, okay. Let's talk about why we didn't like this much. So, using the coin this early really offsets your ramp. So, like he had an awkward turn that turn, next turn it's the same deal. He's going to have to use Keeper or Mind Control Tech off curve unless he top decks a 5-drop. And now he's getting rid of the chance of him coining out an Ancient Allure and Ancient of War. So. But he does get down the most offensive play, and he top decked a 5-drop. So, alright.
Worked out in the end.
Worked out well.
He made the right play.
For knowing what was on the top of his deck, sure.
That's why he thought so long. He was saying, what's the probability that I'm going to draw into Druid of the Claw next turn?
Nah, he just knew. It was some heart of the card shit, man.
Exactly. Well, now he's, he could play it. Oh, man. It's. Just play it.
Just do it!
Just play it.
Put it in taunt and face him! I don't think he can afford to charge at this point. He doesn't have any combo pieces. He's obviously playing a very defensive deck with Kel'Thuzad. I feel like you have to take a defensive line this game.
It's like he's alt-tabbed, and when he hears the rope, he comes back and goes, oh, yeah.
Right. And I drew the 5-drop. Nice.
Sweet. It worked out.
Well, I feel like the Rat, he probably wants to save these saps. I mean, you don't want to be too greedy holding on to them, but you do want to hold them for the much bigger things. Sylvanas being one, Ancient of War is one. You want to do it when you can push a lot of damage, so you want to start out with minions and then saps. But he could be going for like Shredder Sap here. Yep, and he's going to clear off the Druid of the Claw. Or no, he's going to clear off the part of the Belcher.
I like this. And if he replays the Druid of the Claw, he can Azure Drake Eviscerate and plop it.
Plop it. Plop it real good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plop it. Sounds like one of those things from the Bop It toys.
Bop it. Twist it.
Plop.
Jonas.
You know, that's kind of like how I decide how I'm going to cast for the day. I've got to bop it under my desk, and I'm like, I need to accurately describe what he's going to do with that card. And I'm just like, twist it! He's going to twist that Druid of the Claw onto the field.
Flick it. It's an action.
I'm a big fan of jamming it. So you just jam it out there. That's my favorite saying. He's gonna jam that innervate down, and he's just gonna flip out that Sylvanas. It works so well, doesn't it? So we can make a you can make a 6/6 Edwin with the deadly poison and sap. He could just go ahead and give into that Sylvanas, realizing he might want that sap for a taunt later. Could just Azure Drake and sap it. Puts a little less power on the board, though, so I like it a little less. I feel like, I mean, you can probably get away with sapping here.
Yeah, I think so. He's starting to like get a lot of burst.
Yeah. Like, even if your opponent plays an Ancient of War, you can just bust through it. You can just flip it off the table.
Just flick it, twist it.
Bop it.
Sap it. Well, he does go with the play that applies the most pressure.
Indeed.
And, I mean, you have to sort of be scared at this stage. Well, never mind. Not anymore. I guess he's hedging his bets against the old Joan.
The Joan. Yeah.
Probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of realize, like, you're going to fit in a dagger up within the next 2 turns. You don't have a flurry. You don't have an oil. Like, you might as well hedge against the Joanster.
Yeah. So now Taeng has a tough choice ahead of him. His hand is just really clunky. He's basically just going to be replaying something that he's already played. He knows both saps are gone, so I guess the Ancient of War play would probably be the strongest here.
Yeah, but I mean, at best, from Taeng's point of view, that just gets broken through from the board. I guess it's what he has to go with, needing to play very defensively, or else he could die instantly. There is a Blade Flurry. So, can go with like Azure Drake, Blade Flurry, trade in the Edwin. Yep. Saves your Eviscerate for a rainy day.
Yep.
Applies more damage to face.
Yep, definitely. So if he Blade Flurries here, he's going to put Taeng down to 10 health. Yeah,
and he's going to have a lot on board.
Yeah.
He'll be a little vulnerable to like swipe, but even that, all that does is it clears, so then you get to sprint freely.
Barely. Well,
wouldn't clear the Shredder. It would only clear the Drake and the Edwin.
Yeah.
So Th3rat's going to decide on the most aggressive play. Pretty consistent with how he's been playing this game.
Innervate. Does that help him at all? I don't think so.
Well, it would if he had another taunt. He can innervate out a Keeper and put out the Druid of the Claw. And that's kind of what you have to do. I mean, normally you have options, but in this case, you have to do that. I suppose you could choose not to taunt and put out like Sylvanas, but that's so risky. So Th3rat's 2 damage off lethal with a dagger up Eviscerate into the taunt and then push everything face. Is that what he's going to do? I feel like it works out really well. You get to heal bot yourself up to 30. Generally, one thing I've learned from a lot of the better rogue players, like I've talked to Purple Drink a lot about this kind of thing, is you want to sprint as late as possible.
Yeah.
You almost, unless you can prep it out, you want sprint to be the last thing you do. Even developing a 3/3 here is a big deal. And so that's what Th3rat's going to do, kind of in line with that. And I think this is what a lot of experienced rogue players would do. It develops a 3/3, you get to push damage, and now suddenly, anytime your sprint draws into any damage, SI Agent, Eviscerate, anything, your opponent's dead.
Yeah, also the difference between having 9 mana and 10 mana opens up, like you said, so many more lethal opportunities, because it goes from being an Azure, or being an Eviscerate to lethal, to being an SI Agent is lumped in there, where you can re-dagger up and and deadly, things like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of benefits to just waiting.
It also just so happened that the way the damage worked out so much better doing this, because if you sprinted, you couldn't dagger up and eviscerate. So you'd have to trade in at least one of your 4 attack minions into the 4/6. Very inefficient. You push less damage. This is just overall a much more powerful play. And
Also filled up 9 of his 9 mana.
Wow. That mana utilization.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think you just have to Wrath here and hope for... Actually, nothing does it. Doomsayer?
You could go for the Doomsayer now with your... Yeah, with your Keeper, and then if you got it, you could like heal your face with Ancient Allure, sacrificing the 5/5. But that's not going to happen, and that's going to do it. Taeng, no way of surviving on this board. Just double-checking everything, but... Yeah, he's very well dead. But it's not a perfect game, TJ. The rat did take 1 damage.
Taeng, make sure he got that in. So the rat will find a victory with his rogue after all. I think it's a game later than he would have hoped.
Yeah.
After being so close to victory in the last one, but he is now 1 game away from moving on to the finals of NA qualifier. He has to find a win with Warrior, and this is sort of his ace deck.
Mm-hmm. So, definitely the deck. I mean, when you put yourself on multiple chances to win with your best deck on paper in your head and all that, it's got to feel pretty good. I mean, obviously, sometimes your opponent can have a counter lineup to that deck, and it really doesn't matter how good you are with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it still matters. I feel like one of the things deck specialists are best at is not just winning in the matchups you're expected to win in. Oh, and
it's
wow.
Control!
It's control! I think this goes back to... he brought mid-range Paladin, and I feel like this lineup, it has a very specific purpose, or at least multiple purposes, usually lineups that are good, which obviously this one is. It made the finals. They have multiple kind of targets, and so the idea is in the Conquest format you can target multiple decks. Because now, if you lose with the deck, that deck still has to win. So if you have 3 decks that all beat a singular deck, like, say 100% of the time. Obviously, this is a huge hyperbole. No deck always beats another deck. But if, in theory, that were true, anytime you brought those 3 decks and your opponent had the deck they always beat, you would never lose. So kind of take that down a notch and say they have like 70% win rates, you still have a very high chance of winning just based on beating that deck multiple times.
You might be in for some long matches, but...
Yeah, well, the control, I mean, I've ran some funky lineups. I ran a triple fatigue way back in the Root Invitational earlier this year. Made it to the finals.
Monster.
Yeah, and I mean, I was a monster. I 3-0'd Kalinto's Rogue deck. That was one of the decks I was targeting. I 3-0'd Tides of Times. It was like some hand mage, similar to like the Giants mages that are coming out now. And that's sort of the strategy I anticipate that the Rat's trying to do. I'm not sure what decks he's going for. I think Handlock might be one of them. I think he thinks his lineup's probably great against Handlock, which is a common deck. It's not really that great against Druid, which is a common deck, but we saw in North America it's a lot less common.
Yeah.
Compared to the European qualifiers.
Yeah. Out of all the players in the top 4 of NA, Taeng had the best overall record.
Yep. He actually beat my teammate Blackout 3-0 in the round of 8, so...
Yeah, he 3-0'd 6 out of his 7 opponents. No, sorry, 5 out of his 7 opponents.
Still, that is pretty savage. And, I mean, one of those opponents was Th3rat, one was Blackout, so...
Yep.
You know, definitely some names in there. It's not like he was just beating up... He got an easy bracket or something.
Th3rat was the closest. Th3rat was the only player that went 3-2 against him. Yeah. Taeng is known as... he has won over 30 opens.
Woo.
Yeah, so he's up there.
The Korean players, man, they play a lot of opens. And they don't just play a lot, they're pretty good at them.
Yeah.
I know I've kind of talked to Kranich and Reniauer and some other Korean players, and grinding is kind of a big thing over there. They like to play as much as they can. It's, you look at other esports and that kind of thing happens in the Eastern cultures for these games, and it's starting to take over in Hearthstone. These Korean players, Taiwanese, the Chinese, they're all becoming very realistic threats in these tournaments, whereas months ago, maybe you'd just kind of laugh it off and be like, no, the Western scenes are better. It's actually interesting in the North American finals, like you said, we're not region locked. You just need cards on the North American server. In this top four, we have an American player, a French player, a Korean player, and a South American player. So, very diverse top four.
Yeah. The EU was a little bit less diverse.
Yeah, it was. Was it just 4 Europeans?
4 Europeans. A German player, a Dutch player, a Danish player, and a Ukrainian player.
I guess EU number 1, or maybe EU just was awake at the time.
Yeah. There's a lot of... It's funny because it's like the Taiwanese players played more in the EU qualifiers, whereas like the European players play in the NA qualifier a lot. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, Th3rat has not taken a lick of damage.
In fact, he's taken negative damage. Yeah,
and he looks like he's jamming also.
Yeah. He was jamming last game. He was like, oh yeah, gonna win this game. Rock out to some tunes. Easy game, easy life.
Why did I ever even play Patron? Control Warriors, where it's at.
It is a really awesome deck to play when you're ahead, because basically the whole time you're just kind of like, yep, I'm going to win this game.
Yeah.
But it's going to take 20 minutes. But I'm going to win.
Just got to armor up. I mean, he's not that far ahead. He does have Brawl, which is a fantastic card.
He's not actually that far ahead. Zoo is one of those decks that people call it an aggro deck, but you don't need to push that much damage to win. It's a very heavy card advantage deck as well, and the new Zoo versions have been kind of operating more similar to Handlock, where they play a bunch of big threats. There's Mal'Ganis, sometimes Sea Giants, there's Sylvanas usually. Lots of threats, and can go pretty heavily into the late game.
Looks like he's just going to try and minimize the impact of this Sylvanas, but...
It's going to steal something.
It's going to steal something.
And it's probably going to be a 1/1. But what if it's an egg?
Egg would be pretty nice. Oh, he got the egg.
He got the egg.
That's
that's so good because of the brawl.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even if he loses, he wins.
I think you should just go for it, because next turn he wants to Ragnaros. You just go for that. You play the Fiery War Axe after and clean up whatever's left.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's what he's going to opt to do, it looks like. They're just going to line him up really nicely for a Ragnaros next turn. And like we've talked about, he's at a very healthy life total. So the Argus wins, but it's going to suffer a quick death.
I think I'd just rather lose the Brawl, because then the implications that you just sort of like left the game.
Well, the
instead
egg
of Fire War Axe, where you just sort of...
Oh, you're talking about if
you
were the minion, not the player.
If
I was thinking you meant you'd rather leave him with the egg.
No.
You're talking like you're role-playing as if you were Defender of Argus.
Yes. I would rather have lost the Brawl.
What do you think happens to the Brawl losers? Do they just kind of like...
They leave the board.
Yeah, they just leave.
They're not killed.
They're not killed.
Just leave. They're shamed out of the board.
Shame. I can see it. So, you think he'll kill off this Void Caller? I don't think it's a bad idea.
He's got 2 cards in his hand. One card he's been holding on to for a really long time, though.
Well, you're gonna Ragnaros.
When Mal'Ganis comes out?
Yeah, well, then Ragnaros snipes it, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, a 1 and 4. The other 3 are
never
really
tell
not
me
that
the odds. Hey man, I'll take face any day. Then you're threatening lethal.
Yeah, I suppose you could threaten with Cruel Task and
All
Grom.
right. Well, it's no
Hey!
Mal'Ganis, but I have a feeling he's gonna hit this Doomguard, TJ.
The rat is just moved.
He's gonna hit that Doomguard, and he's gonna start jamming out after he does. Oh, okay. You know, I say that every time, TJ, and 25% of the time I look like a prophet. I'm sorry.
You could say it's not going to hit the Doom Guard. Then 75% chance you look like a prophet.
Yeah, but that's expected. You gotta go with something that would ooh and awe people when it happens. They're like, whoa! How did Jockey know that? I'm just like, I don't know, man. Well, now it's basically guaranteed, unless it hits face, I guess, to hit a good target. Even face isn't too bad because he's so healthy.
Yeah.
Like, he's got all the time in the world. That Ragnaros is going to have to die eventually. Well, the implosion's going to help Taeng kind of ignore it. Ideally. Hopefully he could roll 2.
He could Shield Maiden, Fire War Axe. He could start chopping.
You know, TJ, kind of like the Boombots hitting Azradix for 4 every time. I feel like there's a rule where when you Implosion and Acolyte, it always hits for 2.
Uh-oh.
Their ass just like, what?
2? And Dr. Boom's
Uh-oh, yeah, it's suddenly getting pretty sketchy.
Well, the thing is, if he plays Dr. Boom, yeah.
No,
and he's not implosioning, and he leaves Rag on the board.
Yeah, but I think it's okay. You just dome him.
Just dome him.
To the dome piece.
I mean, he can clear off the Shield Maiden, dome him, flick it,
bop it,
and then bop the Dr. Boom.
Just bop that right on the board, yeah.
Yeah. Twist the second Doomguard at the face.
Okay. Man, I'm gonna go play some Bop It tonight. You want to come?
Is there a Bop It with a Squeeze It?
I'm a little surprised. Okay, he's gone for a weaker play. He's not pushing much damage. There is Bop It Extreme, yeah. You ever play any of that? Oh, you're just jamming that, Ysera. Jam it.
Jam it.
No, don't think about this, Rat. You know better. Oh. Man, I wanted to see him do it. Is he going face with that axe? Oh, baby. Setting up the lethal. And actually, wait, this is... Yeah, the Ysera seemed really nice, but he's found a play that sets up lethal, and Taeng, as it stands right now, has no way to deal with that lethal. So he needs to tap. And that means no Dr. Boom. Uh-oh.
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 Well, he could Dr. Boom.
That's... Okay, wait a second. So, he can clear now. Okay. No, he can't Dr. Boom. Or else he's dead.
Yeah, that's true.
So, he can clear it off. He can clear it off. Yeah, Pio would have been so ideal.
But now, I mean, the Rat just plays.
Now the Rat plays the Ysera. Yeah, he sequences. I mean, a lot better than the initial impression. You kind of like look at Ysera, you're like, oh, easy, you know, just play Ysera. You're so healthy, but it is kind of like a better line. Even while you're so ahead, if you can threaten lethal like that, that's just super good.
Yeah.
Now the question is, do you think this axe will go face? No. Damn.
Well, he eliminates the opportunity for him to tap unless he knows that he's going to be able to deal with it, and he picks up Nightmare anyway, so
yeah.
if Ysera's not dealt with... Oh, he picks up a Defender, Vargas.
Yeah, but that means you can't play the Dr. Boom.
You can tap,
I think it might have to be Dr. Boom this turn. You really need to start pressuring. And of course, that would end the game, so... In the wrong way for Taeng. In the match, even. It's a really bad spot either way you look at it, but if you Defender Vargas, you're pushing what, like 7 damage?
Yeah.
8 if you want, if you place it between the spiders, but yeah, I mean, I think Doctor Boom has to be at this turn. You have to hope he just doesn't have anything, and
You have
then
to hope he got
you defend her
Laughing
the next
Sister.
turn. Yeah, you just defend her the next turn and try to kind of claw out from there. But that's not gonna work. And Ysera will finish the job.
And the rat has done it
Slam.
with the Nightmare. The rat will take the series 3-1 over Taeng. Move on to the finals of NA qualifier number 8. Taeng, unfortunately, will move down to the 3rd place match. He'll have a chance to compete for some buckaroos.
Yep.
And I don't think you said Taeng is in the running at all. Pretty much everybody in this tournament
well,
has to win or bust.
Taeng was in the running if he got second or higher. So
Okay.
unfortunately, with that loss, he is not going to make the premier tournament. He's kind of relegated to just playing for some money next match.
Yeah. Yep. So the next matchup, of course, is going to be
It will be
Leo
Leo
Main
Main.
and Weasel.
Yep. So,
So-
that's the South American being Leo Main and Weasel from France.
Yeah. All across the globe. But we are going to go to a quick commercial break. But during the break, guys, make sure you head over to geico.onog.gg. Still giving away official TSM PC. The specs are pretty nuts. They're right on the front page there. It's advertised as soon as you go to the website. You can also get a GEICO quote as well. So during the break, make sure you guys head over there, do that. But 2-minute break. When we come back, the Summer Circuit NA Qualifier number 8 continues. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.